Welcome to IAS Market Talk, your trusted source for timely ag market insights, brought to you by Innovative Ag Services. Each week, we break down the latest beef market trends impacting Northeast Iowa and Southwest Wisconsin, with expert updates tailored specifically for our IAS members. This week, you'll hear directly from Dave Rueber, IAS Beef Production Specialist, who brings decades of experience and deep knowledge of the cattle industry to these conversations. Dave has been providing market updates to producers for years, and now he's bringing those insights straight to you through this podcast. Tune in weekly for what you need to know straight from people you know. With that, here's Dave Rueber with the latest on what's happening in the cattle markets this week.
David Rueber, Beef Production Specialist for Innovative Ag Services, calling with a beef market commentary for July 15th. Let's start with the good positive news. It's Fair Week. Get yourself over to Manchester. They always do a good job at Delaware County Fair. Steerenstein's always hard to beat. Going to be a little warm here, obviously, the next couple days, but always a good place to spend a good summer afternoon there in Manchester. So just throwing a little plug in there. The tough news is the cattle markets. We knew there'd be a stretch when this thing would kind of do the other way, and it's done that the last couple of weeks. You know, we've gone from basically 260 fat cattle to 240 fat cattle in about 2.5 weeks. A little faster than what anybody thought it would be. I mean, the old adage was always you take the escalator up and the elevator down, and we're certainly doing that in the cash markets the last couple of weeks. Not a lot of cattle moved last week. What did sell was kind of in that 248 range mostly. There was a few cattle sold earlier last week at 250. If you're a hedger, the basis continues to be very good. You know, the futures market is down there quite a bit under where the cash is at. So some of this market's driven by some folks that got some hedges in place. Take advantage of the good basis, get rid of your fat cattle, and away you go. There won't be a ton of hedged cattle going past August because there really was never much of an opportunity to do much hedging on those cattle. That's the tough part. There's a lot of unprotected cattle coming forward, and the main reason is because you really never could do anything. There was never a chance to protect the futures price that was much on the right side of things. So we got some challenging pens coming up here down the road. Feeder cattle continue to be overpriced. That sounds bad if you're selling feeder cattle, but if you're buying them, they're too high priced. You got cattle with break-evens in the 240s, 250s, even some of them with those video cattle pushing 260. You got corresponding deferred futures in the 220s. It does not take a calculator to figure out that is a bad swap. You're looking at cattle that got the chance to lose $500 or more if the futures market is accurate. Now, we know that the basis has been in our favor. You know, the fundamentals are good on the cattle market. This isn't all gloom and doom. I'm just pointing out there's some unrealistic prices on some feeder cattle that we're buying. The hard thing is if you're bidding on them, there just isn't enough of them out there. Short supply, a lot of demand, leads to overpriced feeder cattle, which is not uncommon for this time of year. You know, you buy those good cattle coming off of grass, they perform well. There's not many of them, and they just cost a lot of money. They historically catch a good market, early in the wintertime for next year. So you got that going for them. But boy, you're going to be left with your shorts down because there ain't going to be any hedging involved on them cattle for the foreseeable future because that deferred futures price in the 220s isn't going to do anybody any favors, and there's just not many options on there. Buying a put doesn't do much. Buying a livestock insurance policy, there's nothing there to work with. We're just paying too much for feeder cattle, so that's the hard part. Cost of gains, a little over $1 for steers or around $1, depending on where you price that corn at. It's been bouncing around quite a bit here the last couple of weeks. Heifers, I'm using $1.06, $1.07 for cost of gains. Like I said, most of these break evens on these new cattle coming in are in the 240s. Feeder cattle, like I said, priced a little higher than they should be with what the futures market is. Good 8-weight steer will still cost you $360s, pushing $370. The lighter weight cattle, those 6-weight steers have dropped some, but they're still going to be in the mid $450 range, give or take. lightweight cattle, if you can find them, those 5 weights, still in the high 4s, pushing 5. Just a little bit of uncertainty going on right now. Up till now, we've had a really good run this year. Been solid. These closeouts have been good. Performance, okay. We've had enough health issues with some of these big cattle in the summertime, but, all in all, been a very good start to 2026. We just got some little darker clouds ahead of us going forward. Doesn't mean things can't straighten around, but a little bit one of our tougher weeks going on right now. Looking like this market going to probably trade somewhere either side at 240, give or take a little bit. So watch that futures market, which has been down, I think, 12 consecutive days. We'll have better times coming. Once again, my name is David Rueber, Beef Production Specialist for Innovative Ag. Thank you.
That's it for this week's episode of IAS Market Talk. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an update. And if you know a fellow producer who could benefit from this information, share this episode with them. For more updates and insights, visit innovativeag.com and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We'll catch you next time on IAS Market Talk.
Are you ready for a hands-on role with purpose? Join the facility operations team at Innovative Ag Services, where we value hard work, safety, and community. With locations across Northeast and Central Iowa and Southwest Wisconsin, we offer industry-leading benefits, on-the-job training, and a culture that supports your growth. From competitive pay to a uniform allowance, we invest in our team. Grow with IAS and discover your co-opportunity. Apply today at innovativeag.com.